And we're back. It's World Cup season. It's late November, and here we are. Unpopular opinion. As a first, executive salaries should be cut instead of firing people. As a first, executives' salaries should be cut instead of firing people. This is from user not done processing. User not done processing. As a first, executive salaries should be cut instead of firing people. So we'll do this in the normal structure. I'll read the explanation. You can listen and re-listen, speed up, slow down the content, right? Depending on the difficulty level, the degree of difficulty for you. After we do that, we'll talk about the English. We'll break down or review or go over the vocab, sometimes some grammar and pronunciation perhaps as well. But here we go. Here is the explanation provided by user not done processing about, as a first, executive salaries should be cut instead of firing people. Meta firing 11,000 employees. Cisco firing 4,000 employees. Twitter firing almost half their workforce. This is pathetic. Although one may reason that this was a mistake in the first place and they should never have hired so much, why are the people on whom the mistake was committed the first ones to suffer? Why are executives not made to take cuts, knowing very well that they're paid on an average of 100 times to 200 times of the company's median salary? Why are those top 20 to 30 executives not made to take maybe a 20% pay cut because they're the ones who made bad decisions? In hindsight, I know. Why are they not the ones to be put on the line? Their salaries keep jumping in double-digit percentages every year, while people are fired left and right and center. Okay, so again, if this was too easy for you, go 1.5 speed or normal speed, but listen again. Close your eyes. If it was too easy and you were reading and listening, go back, just listen. If it was too difficult, open up the text. Slow it down. Go 0.5, 0.5, go 0.5 speed, okay? Do what you got to do and do it again and again. Repetition is your best friend with language learning. So, and I always say this word, right? The tamaño de muestra, the sample size is very important. So let's break down some of the English. Firing, right? To fire someone is to let them go. Demitir, I believe, in Portuguese. It's World Cup season starting yesterday. Okay. Meta. Meta now, this might still be unfamiliar, but Meta is the corporate name for Facebook, right? Facebook is just the social media platform now. Meta is the parent company, firing 11,000. Cisco firing 4,000. Workforce. Twitter firing half their workforce. Workforce is a collective word description of people who work for a company or in an industry. The workforce. You could say employees, but it's more or less a synonym for employees. This is pathetic. Although one reason that this was a mistake in the first place, it should never have hired so much. Hired, I know, probably familiar to most people. Hired, Hired, to hire, with no D is the infinitive. Contratar. Why are people on whom the mistake was committed, the first ones to suffer. I'm going to try and translate this on whom the mistake was committed, because I think that's a kind of funky bit of grammar there that might be confusing to people. But I'm going to need to mistake, erro, né? Mistake, erro, yeah. So, porque as pessoas nos quem o erro foi cometido são os primeiros para sofrer. I believe that was correct. If you please judge my Portuguese, that would be great for me. But why are the people on whom the mistake was committed? So they mean to say, I believe, right? The people on whom the mistake was committed, meaning the workers, right? They are the ones who suffer the mistake. It happened to them. They didn't do the mistake. They are victims of the mistake. Why are they the first ones to suffer? Why do they get fired versus the people who make the mistake? Going down, not made to take cuts, knowing very well that they're paid on average 102,000. Median. Median is, let's see, because there's a few different words. Mediana, mediano. So this is one of the words for average, right? A type of average, meaning the midpoint in a distribution, the midpoint. Why are those top 20 to 30 executives not made to take a 20% pay cut? In hindsight, I know. In hindsight. So this is an expression. There's a vocab word here, hindsight, but usually we say in hindsight, right? So the opposite would be foresight. But let's go back to hindsight. 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 The pronunciation, right? We don't really articulate, at least I don't. The D, hindsight. Hindsight. We kind of go from the N to the S. So, but that could be my dialect. That could be my California, dialect. But hindsight, in hindsight, meaning looking backwards, not knowing in the moment all the details, but in hindsight, right? Looking back. Let's see if what we got in Portuguese, retrospect, right? In Portuguese, em retrospectiva, in retrospect. Again, meaning looking back at the things and thinking about or analyzing them from the future. Why are they not the ones to be put on the line? Expression, there we go. To be put on the line, or when something is on the line, it is at risk. At risk. So to put something on the line is to risk it. Arriscar. Para arriscar. So if someone says, hey, put it all on the line. If you're playing poker, you're playing cards, and someone says, go ahead, put it all on the line. It means, hey, risk it, do it, try it. So why are they not the ones to be put on the line? Meaning, why are the executives not the ones to be at risk? Their salaries keep jumping. We use jumping for quantities, right? It's a quantitative verb or adjective, meaning going up, increasing, and right, like when someone jumps, usually it happens fast. It's in a moment. Double digit. Double digit. How would you say this in Portuguese? Double digit. Probably I think it would be the same. Double digit. Dois dígitos. Dois dígitos. Meaning two decimal points, depois da vírgula, or antes de vírgula, né? Double-digit percentages every year while people are fired, left, right, and center. Left, right, and center means everywhere. Left, right, and center, everywhere. Not just on one side, the other side, no, everybody. People are fired left, right, and center means They're firing people from HR. They're firing people from sales. They're firing people from the factory. They're firing people in this department, in that department, everywhere. So left, right, and center is a common expression meaning everywhere. Um, so that is all that I can pick apart from the headline, I believe, or from the explanation. It's not too long. It's two short paragraphs. So go ahead, listen to it again if you want to get a refresher on the content. I'm going to talk now in this segment about um, as a first, executives' salaries should be cut instead of firing people. It's hard to disagree with this. It's very hard. And Sabir, right? I mean, maybe I would feel significantly different if I was one of these executives, right? Maybe the life is really so difficult that uh, this opinion is not fair. But from my perspective now, I it's very hard to disagree with this. Um, and labor and management, people who work and get paid a salary versus executives, right? We're not talking necessarily about a creator, but we could be even. But who does most of the work and who make the decisions that usually, could destroy a business? The executives usually make the decisions, correct? That's the name, right? Executives. They have their positions and they're not laboring and making things. They're just kind of steering the ship. Um, and in many cases, they steer a ship, too aggressively or too with too much ambition, or just dishonestly. And the people who get fired are typically the workers. And this is 2022. We're in November as I record this, and in the U.S., there's a lot of politics and headlines and conversation about inflation. Brazil too, and the solution for inflation is always, well, make loans, make cash more expensive to get from the bank. That will solve the problems. Make it more difficult for normal people to take money for things that they need, and that will slow everything down. At the same time, the executives that this person is writing about, are and shareholders are. There's headlines about record lucra, right? Record profits, and um, it's you can't tell me that if we have an inflation problem, it makes sense that you pay these 20 to 30 employees, or what do they say in the headline, at top 20 to 30 executives. You can't tell me that paying them more money than ever makes sense in the context of inflation. That I don't care what system or paradigm of economics you agree with or subscribe to, those are contradictions. Record profits and can't pay our employees because of inflation, or can't adjust their salary, or employees must have to be fired because it's too expensive to be paying them. Well, you're paying some people and you're increasing their pay. And we're also hearing about the money that you're taking home is the pie is bigger than ever before, and then you're firing people. Yeah, no. Call me an idiot, right? Call me a fucking idiot, but that does not make sense to me. And until it it never. I'll be honest. I'll be stubborn on this. Tim Moles, right? That will never make sense to me. I will never be convinced that that is um, the way it has to be, right? But let me know what you think. I think sometimes there are stories of companies who kind of recognize the silliness of firing a bunch of employees for, right, maybe in a pandemic, trying, hey, there's a pandemic happening. We don't, we need to save money, and maybe we should pay executives less. And some people try this sometimes, right? I think Nintendo had tried that before. Um, I don't think it's the rule, but I think that it's happened before that there are some companies that try and behave responsibly during bad times. Um, so, yeah, let me know what you think in Brazil, right? Is this something that you feel like is applicable? And what would your thoughts be? What do you think your friends and family would think about this opinion? Because we are supposed to judge it as a first. Um, Executive salaries should be cut instead of firing people. Let me know what you